Welcome to Capital of the Border, where we talk about business and leaders and the history of Laredo. Today, our guest is a very interesting person. He has done great things for the community, and there's people that say yes and there's people that say no, but he's like, man, let's go at it. So I'm going to interview him today, and we're going to talk about this, but I created something for you, CY. It goes like this.
How are you?
It's Laredo is a city that runs on a family tradition and on people who show up, not just on election day, but every single day. My guest today has been showing up for this community for 31 years, from coaching youth sports to co-founding one of Laredo's most successful charity fundraisers, raising over $3 million for $3 million for local kids. And now stepping forward to lead Webb County as our next county judge. He's in the May 26th runoffs, and he joins us to talk about his vision. What does he see for the Webb County? What's the future like? And Carlos C.Y. Benavides is the third. Welcome, my guy.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Well, first I want to correct that wine tasting has actually generated more than $8 million, not $3 million.
So it's more. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I just got released from being the temporary CEO of that company because we hired a new guy that's going to be amazing, a guy named Andrew Russell that is really going to change the landscape for our community. But during the 5 months I was there, I raised another $3.5 million for the kids. So I'm very proud of what we've been able to do and impact our community. And we're not stopping there. You know, this year is our 80th birthday, and we're kicking off what we call the 80 for 80.
Okay.
And so we're on a mission from here to Christmas to raise $80 million in a brand new endowment fund for the community and the kids of Laredo.
Nice, man. That's amazing. So one of the things, CY, that I'm going to tell you, and I told you this, and I've told everybody, like, hey, man, I want to be open and I want to be transparent and authentic. That's the idea. And I did interview Jerry, but before anything else, CY, I want to make sure you understand this, is that with his conversation, it was about like a 30-minute conversation. I didn't get to go deeper into it. Now with you, I do have questions for you, all right? But this is going to be more of like, hey, I'm going to open up the podcast for him to, hey, come back. Let's start talking about other issues that I didn't get a chance to. All right, and I'm open about that. I am, and I'll say that while we're going to be recording this. But
I have no issues what you do with you know.
But what I do want to know is, like, who is CY? Because who is CY when he's not running, when he's not in this campaign stuff? And I think there's a lot of people that don't know who you are. Like, what does CY do when he's not running for elections?
Well, first and foremost, I'm a father of 6. I'm a grandfather of 5. You know, I'm very involved. It's when people talk about my success, I talk to them about my children. I think is my greatest achievement. Mm-hmm. My oldest was a district attorney in the Valley, and now he's an independent lawyer in his own firm in Austin. My second oldest runs Doggett Freightliner from south of San Antonio to Brownsville. My third oldest, Eduardo, he is an advocate, but more than anything else, he's a producer for film.
Okay.
And currently has been working the last 4 years with Gordon Ramsay, doing The Next Level Chef, and working for HBO and Paramount on other programs as well. So I'm very proud of him. My daughter just recently left a big stint with Google, where she worked and was the police chief, if you will, for the dark web for themselves. Wow. And so she was doing a lot of amazing things. She has now been transcended and hired by a law firm in Austin. So I'm very proud of Katarina and what she's been doing there. My other son, Joshua, is a freelance salesperson for 18-wheelers here in this community. And then I have a 9-year-old son, and then my grandchildren are just some awesome kids that are coming along.
So how many kids in total?
I have 6 kids. 5 sons and 1 daughter. Yeah.
You took the first part of the Bible very seriously, my guy. The Old Testament, go out and multiply.
Yeah. Well, I always wanted to be a good father.
I got to be obedient. That's,
yeah,
I mean.
I'm not sure if I've been the greatest father of all time, but I think I've done a pretty good job. and and I want the same kind of experiences for all our community. So I easily could have taken on my kids and have them participate in the things I do, or bring them into the farm or the ranch or whatever we're doing. But I wanted them to seek out their own way and realize that success is sweeter on the outside, and that they can always have what I have here, and they will have one day. I won't be here, and they'll take over what I'm doing.
But like, what do you like? Who is CY, man? Like, when you're not running, like, who were you? What were you? How was the day look like when you were like last year, when you were not even considering running, or maybe a year ago? Like who is that person?
So the last 2 years, I've been working hardcore with Boys and Girls Club, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, working with my sister to open up a brand new company called 187 North, which is a vineyard that we're opening up in Vanderpool, Texas. We have a lovely place there along the river on the Sabinal Canyon, north of Utopia, Texas. It's one of the oldest vineyards in the state of Texas, and we're revitalizing it. We already are creating our second vintage this year. We're about to open to the public in the next few weeks, so we're excited about that. 187 North is going to be something that we're really, really proud. We created some beautiful juice. We're working with a guy named John Rivenbaugh, who's the president of the Texas Wine Association. He's a professor at A&M and at Shiner University. And we're integrating and understanding the new chemistry of what is winemaking. We've created our own stills. I mean, we have it all.
So you're still like business-wise, you're still running. Even before this whole campaign, you were like, do this, do that.
We're doing so many neat things. We're working with Saludos Brewery to build our beers that we're going to have there as well. We have a little tasting room and stuff. It's a very, very nice, similar to this environment that you're sitting in today, kind of a place. And we're excited, very proud of what Saludos has been able to do for us. I'm always talking about Laredo Proud. That's my jam. At the same time, working with my brother and my sister, we just recently built out a subdivision in Central Texas. We built our first spec home in the last 2 years.
And that's the part where I will go into and say, hey, you've seen great places, you've been around, you see all these great business opportunities, but you're still in Laredo, born and raised in Laredo, and you're still here. What is that one thing that brings you back to Laredo?
It's all heritage. My family was one of the first families that started this community. I cannot leave the roots. I'm not that person that looks to tear up and pull out. I want to have greatness and continue the vision that my forefathers had. Some people don't know this, but my great uncle, people ask me.
Your father was a county judge.
My father was a county judge, but it goes back even further because my great uncle, Robert Benavides, who was also my godfather, was a county judge in the early 60s.
That's right.
And there's an iconic picture of him when he took a picture with JFK in front of the Boys and Girls Club in 1963.
That's when he was in,
And so he was known by Mr. Kennedy as Mr. Carne Asada. He visited Jacqueline back in the day. He would visit D.C., Jacqueline, and JFK would visit the ranch here in Webb County. And very few people knew this of him. But, he was the first Hispanic to graduate from Notre Dame. He was a lawyer, he's a businessman. These are brothers of my grandfathers. They were all very much entrepreneurs, and also branched out beyond what they knew, what their mother left them. My grandmother, great-grandmother, Rosabella Benavides, was a very powerful woman in her day. In the late 20s and 30s, she amassed half of the real estate fortune that we have today. It was her vision, to make it about dirt and realize that dirt has value in many ways. It grows things.
Man, that's nice. It's pretty awesome because you guys have a lot of history, especially down here in Laredo, where you're like, hey, we go way back. And that is one thing I've noticed, that our culture or our community, and especially the youth, we don't do anything about like the city. For example, like I always wear this flag, the little pin of this is like the Laredo flag,
right?
And I've had people ask me like, is that like a Nigerian flag or what is it? I was like, no, dude, it's the seventh flag. Like it's our flag. What are you talking about? I was like, well, and I wear it because
It's
it's
a
gonna.
disconnection.
It they don't know about this, and then
That's
and,
exactly right.
And that's where I wear it not because it's like, oh, like I'm gonna wear it. But it's because it's gonna create a conversation. And if you don't know about the city that you're proud of or that you love, that you live here, and you're gonna write it out, it's gonna be more like, hey man, here it is. Because there's people that I know, people that they come to Laredo, they see opportunities, and they fall in love with it. But then we have
Absolutely.
local Laredoans that don't. They, I'm gonna leave, and it's like why? And then the people that come and embrace the culture, they're like, we see so much that we're gonna bring it, and we're going to change it. We're going to make something better for Laredo. But the people that are deeply rooted, or people that are from Laredo, they're like, no, I'm gonna leave. Like I don't like Laredo. Laredo's boring, and
I think there's a lot of people, young people that are disenfranchised with the community. That's one of the reasons why I'm taking on this race, because there's needs, and I think that young people don't feel like there's real opportunities, because we have done a terrible job as forefathers of this community in modern times to show them where and lead them in the directions of where the opportunities lie. We leave it up to them to try to figure it out instead of actually holding their hand and walking through that door together to show them the abilities of what we can do and create these opportunities. That's why I'm so deeply rooted in Boys and Girls Club, because I think that Boys and Girls Clubs gives those children all the way across the board an opportunity, maybe through sports or some kind of program that we have internally, educational or otherwise, that touches them and shows them and says, hey, you know what? There might be something different for me.
right.
Because a lot of our kids are growing up in families that say, well, you're going to be a mailman or you're going to be this person. And they're already precasting their future. And I think what people and our young people leaving is just because they're so hungry, they're trying to go bite an apple somewhere else because they're trying to escape this norm that we've created here. I think that we need to do a better job of communicating to our children and telling them and showcasing what we could do. There needs to be a bigger investment in that future. I was recently at an event that the mayor held where we were talking about teen violence that we've had here recently in Laredo.
Right.
And we were talking about how we're going to notify people when bad kids are around, and how we're going to call the TIPS hotline, and how we're going to arrest them. And once we arrest them, how we're going to process them, and what jail are we going to put them in, or what program. Instead of talking about what programs can we invest in today that will keep them out of that process, that will keep them in front of a jury box. That's what I think that needs to change. And so I've been actively trying to do that here for the last year or so, trying to get some conversion of some rec centers to become teen centers and youth centers that are protected so that these kids get the proper opportunities that they've never had. And I'm not saying that it works for everybody, but if we can save one or more, it's well worth it. And I know we have the ability to do it because we already have the proven model of Boys and Girls Club of America that has been running teen youth centers now for some time. And I'm not saying that's the only solution, but that's one thing.
But see why, like, you're already doing that. You're already doing that through the Boys and Girls Club. Now you're taking on the role as a county judge. Now the role as a county judge, under my understanding, it's bridges and roads.
Right.
The courthouses.
Right.
And the other one was, what was it? It's
Oh, there's many.
the jail. That's really been the core of the county. Like,
Oh, it's so much
and then,
deeper than
And
that,
then it
though.
just went on to get into all these other different departments. We're
You're a
now-
CEO though, and that's where my strength lies.
But
you know?
here's where I'm saying, like, I 100% get it. I think it's a very important thing. It's a good cause that you're already doing without having the county involved. But you're grabbing on a major task now, and you're going to, like, grab it and absorb it while you're already doing the county stuff, and now you're doing that part. And I'm going to play more of that devil's advocate and say, but we want to fix all of that. Yes, it's very important, but I personally believe that it starts at home. That's those things that so kids can have an opportunity, and to like all the hotlines and call this and teen, and it's like that's all great, but that's not the core. We're just putting a band-aid to the issue.
Yeah, I don't care about those things. Those things don't matter to me. I want to make the things. I mean, I believe that you have, yes, what the beginning of what you're talking about at home, and then we have church, and then we have school. But beyond those things, there needs to be other little supplemental things, whether it's a dancing program or a STEM program or any other artistic type of way that not all kids fit into a square peg or a round square,
Yeah.
you know? And so how do we offer that connection? And it's by having that buffet of after school programs that the kids can go to and be attracted to, that can be connected and disconnect from the box, which is the iPhone, you know?
Yeah.
Where people are spending a lot of their time, and we're already seeing the degradation of the brain of of our students because they spend too much time in that location. You're thinking that I'm going to lose that impact? No, not at all. We just brought in probably one of the greatest guys I've ever seen in my life. This guy, Russell, he's going to be amazing, our new CEO at Boys Club. And the expansion and the things that we're doing and taking on the region of what we're going to change and evolve for our kids is going to be amazing. I mean, I'm always going to be there as a lifetime director. I've been there for 44 years as well, so it's something that's part of my DNA. But Webb County is a company that needs new leadership. You know, there has not been significant infrastructure that's been developed since I built the Camino Colombia toll road in 2001.
And we will talk about that. We will, but I want to know more about. You see, I've seen you do these debates and these forums, and they're great. I'm a sucker for them. I love them because they're like it's challenging, or like, hey, who's gonna like how? But the problem with these platforms is that they're asking you something like, paint me a picture of what you're gonna do for the county. Go. And you only have a second. So all you're doing
it's a Band-Aid. That is a true Band-Aid.
All you're doing, you're giving me the political correct answer, and I can read it, and it's like, no, no, that's not true. Or it's just more of like, come on, man, like, let's be realistic. Like,
you're going to ask me what I do if I was county judge?
Well, you can't answer that in these forums. Like, it's very difficult.
It's hard, but I can tell you some that are,
so
important.
What I want to know is, in a minute, I'm just kidding. What I want to know is, paint me the picture of what it would look like if you get this position in the Webb County. How would Webb County look like in 4 years from now?
Well, number one, I think there'd be voter confidence in the leadership. I think our leadership would be one that's going to be very transparent. People are going to be able to communicate their thoughts and directions on where we're headed. We need to have a very good understanding of, I believe, a digestion and a complete cursory of all the departments is necessary to see how we're utilizing our tax dollars to make sure that we're spending the money wisely. And I know there's certain divisions within the county that need raises and bolstering the support of the people that work there. And I know there are probably some people that don't need to be there that we need to move on from. But at the end of the day, it's a business, right?
So how would it look like?
And I can tell you, like, certain businesses that are not working right now. Like, for example, the constables and the sheriffs. Neither one communicates on the same wavelength.
They're elected officials.
One works by themselves, the other one works by themselves.
Right.
The sheriffs don't communicate with the Border Patrol. They won't take on a case. They'll stand there. If there's somebody shot on the ground, they won't touch them because it's Border Patrol, and vice versa, And so there's these inefficiencies and interactions that are not being laced up for no good reason other than politics, bad politics. I've had leaders in every one of those organizations, constables, sheriffs, and Border Patrol, tell me that's unreasonable, makes no sense. Same thing that we have with the fire department. We have two fire departments, you know, one fire department is not touching the other fire department's work and things of that nature. I mean, those are just things that are just low-lying fruit. But there is so much that one doesn't know until we get into it. But I can tell you, and I go back to what I mentioned a few minutes ago, what has changed today that did not happen 20 years ago? And the person that's running against me has been around for a little under half the time of the last 20 years. And you got to ask yourself as a voter, am I satisfied with the current leadership? And if you are, you should vote for the other guy, not for me. But I can tell you, not because I'm telling you from without knowledge, but just on the tax base alone, the assessment of property values and the tax rating that's been going on, it's gotten out of hand. It's taxation without representation. The people are not being protected. So much so that Austin had to take action and pass new laws limiting what counties can do on taxing.
Well, I mean, if you ask me, it's get rid of it all. Like, we shouldn't be paying. So when is it going to be your property? Because it's going to be, you're always going to be paying for taxes.
Yeah.
So is it really your property? No, it's not. It's never going to be yours. You're renting it from the government. So I mean, you look at Florida, and Florida's doing that, but that's more of a state issue. The state decides that.
No, I understand, but there is a lot that could be done here and has been done to the negative. And I'm saying to you that I believe there's things that needs to be done to the positive.
Okay. So 4 years from now, let's say, I'll put you in there right now. If I had the magic wand, bam, you're there. 4 years, how would Webb County look like? And you're saying you would connect BP, a sheriff, constables, all to communicate and talk. That's one. And then the other
More than talk,
work.
they need to interact. They need to work.
Okay.
We need to find out who we're going to bolster, how we're going to make it better, so that we have service with a smile. You know, I walked into the county offices the other day, and the sheriffs that are greeting you there, asking you for your keys and your wallet and your phone and trying to wand you down, and everybody is frowning and everybody's in a bad mood.
Well, I mean,
No, there's no reason for that.
no, I know, but it's like,
No, it's fine that they ask me for that stuff, but I want them to say, hello, good morning, how are you? Can I lead you in a particular direction? Where are you going? Can I give you some advice how to get there? Why is it that we have to have this sourpuss attitude? You know, it's just an attitude that I believe that they're unhappy at what they're doing. And they're unhappy because of whatever reason why they got them there. And I'm just trying to say, I don't want that to be that way. I want to have a positive environment where people can know they're going to work and enjoy their work. That's one thing that was instilled by my grandparents, is if you go and enjoy your job, you'll never work a day in your life. But how do we convince people that it's got to be that way? And I think it's about communication, and that's part of the leadership that I'll bring to the table. I'm going to bring the guys that make men and women that are going to be positive and impact our community in a positive way. And, you know, I know a lot of people think that I'm just going to go there and try to wipe the floor and get rid of people. And that's not my objective at all. But like when I took over the Boys Club as the new executive director, I questioned the people that were working for us. I made determinations. I made changes. Yeah, a few people we had to lose, but it was only for the betterment of what we were doing. And there was that bad blood, if you will. There was not a cohesive, working, happy family. And I'm telling you right now, our employees are motivated. They're excited about coming to work. They're excited about how they communicate, and they're providing that service with a smile. And it was such a refreshing thing to have this new guy have the same kind of mentality that I have. He comes from some similar backgrounds, although he has a big banking background, which is going to be even a better strength for us.
Yeah. And yes, you are doing great. You have been doing a lot of great things for the Boys and Girls Club. I mean, look at the track record, and it shows that, hey, you've been constantly creating something nice. And I'll tell you, I mean, I don't think you were running at that time, the clubs, but I'm actually a product of that. You know, I would go and hang out there at the Boys and Girls
Well,
Club.
I don't know how old you are, but in 2006, I was president of that
Okay, nah,
organization.
I was already in high school. But yeah, I mean, it's nice to have those things and you're doing it at no cost to any counties or any cities, or it's really just raising funds. So that is a cool thing. The other thing I want to acknowledge, man, that and I was telling you, man, I probably hated you for that day or two, but that's it. And then I got used to it. I didn't know you're the one that pushing for the plastic bags to be banned. And I get it. Like, I'm not saying it's a wrong thing.
Right.
But I remember, man, it's like, oh, how much is it? Oh, paying at HB is like, well, take your stuff now. And I'm like, oh, I only have two hands. So I'm walking out there with my stuff, with no bags, but I'm like, this is so stupid. Who would do this?
Yeah.
Sorry about that, right? But
No, and I'm not going to sit here and just take credit like I did it all by myself. There was a lot of great
but
people.
you were you were advocating for this, man.
I
Like,
was advocating for it.
and it got done.
I got done. I actually was named by RIST what was it, the Environmentalist of the Year, and I was very happy about that. And it was for good reasons, you know. And a lot of people were surprised that
Yeah.
I would be an advocate for that kind of direction. But I've always been about the Mother Earth. I've always been about agriculture. That's my education, is in wildlife and animal science and range and property management. That's what I do. That's my
And you
jam.
typically don't see that from a rancher, a South Texas rancher being advocate about these type of issues. But you were there.
So I don't know if you know this, but a lot of property owners in South Texas, they make a hole and that's where they throw their trash. I'm the guy that goes into those holes and cleans them out and throws them in the proper place. I've always cared about how we treat and how we're gonna leave what somebody else handed us off. You know, my great grandmother passed it to her kids, passed it to my dad, passed it to me.
So your great grandmother was the one that got this like that's
It
where
was
you
even
get
going beyond that. My great grandfather had a big family and a big estate, and we got properties from him. But then my great grandmother also, and then, you know, and then my other grandfather.
So where is all this green, like protecting the earth, or like the plastic bags and all this? Like, where do you get that from? Like, who's the one that instilled that in you? Like, oh no, recycle.
I'm telling you, it was my grandparents.
Okay.
My grandparents and my mom. Everybody. I mean, you know, the old saying that cleanliness is next to godliness, kind of thing. You know. And how you have your, I mean, I was raised where you needed to make your bed. And you needed to do things the way you're supposed to do it, not just wreck your room, you know.
Yeah.
You had chores.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff. I mean, I clean my own toilets, you know. I cook, I clean, I love to chef. I enjoy every part of what it's like to be a homebody, or whether it's here or at one of my properties or with around friends. I mean, I think the kitchen is where so many things happen. In every place that I'm around, I love the big table. The big table is where the deals are made. Business, life, family is all tied. You know, even God is tied to the kitchen table.
Okay.
It's always been for me something really special, and it's because that's the way I was raised. I mean, when I was 6, 7, 8 years old, we milked the goats, the cows. We made our own cheese. We made our own milk. We had made our own butter, you know, and we'd always put on a pot of beans in a clay pot on a fire, not on a stove. The same thing with our coffee, you know, old school type ranching stuff.
That's
that those memories and that flavor and the homemade tortillas, and you know, we would have something frying.
and that is something that I was asking you outside of before we started. But man, you have that. Like, you have the ranches, you have that peace, that true be one with nature, if you want to call that, or just meditate on the word. But you have it. You have what, like, majority of the people are looking for. It's just to have that simple life. You have it.
I love it.
but you're letting that go to come into this boxing ring and say, let's go and get it done. Because, like,
You know, I know. I don't know if you remember, but when I ran 20 years ago, because I ran the same position 20 years ago, right? I'm talking about the same things I was talking about back then.
Well,
Clean water and things that and what we need for our future.
and what I'm trying to say is, like, why let that go when you have that
I'm going to
peace?
tell you why. Because my grandmother, my mother's mother, Amanda Rash Gutierrez from Zapata, Texas, told me, son, if you're ever in a position where you have done well and God has blessed you, you owe it to your community to give back. And I have the ability, I have the knowledge, I have the fortitude, and more than that, I have the maturity and the strength to be able to deal even-handedly and work with people to improve our community. And that is something that nobody can outmatch me right now.
Okay, interesting. Because before you said, I'm going to run and do this, I don't know if you realized or you had to or write it down on a piece of paper, but you're adding something new to your lifestyle. What was that one thing
Absolutely.
What's that one thing that you're going to sacrifice? Because you have to sacrifice something, because not everything is going to fit on that
A
plate.
lot of my freedom, obviously.
Which is?
All the things I do for fun. You know, I'm going to take on the role of a full-time job, you know, which some people think that I don't have. I do have multiple full-time jobs, but it'll be committed about what we're doing here in Webb County, you know, and some of the things that I plan to do is to talk about what I've seen in my travels in this country and around the world, you know. I talked to you briefly earlier about places like Singapore, like Auckland, you know, different places around the world where cleanliness and, you know, is important, and how we take care of the earth that we have. I would submit to you today that we are at a crossroads, not only as a community, but as a species, on how we're moving forward and loving this earth so we can survive beyond my lifetime. You know, I'm not sure how many years God's going to give me, but I know that for all purposes, I'm in potentially close to the last quarter of my NBA career, right?
Yeah.
This is it for me.
Okay.
You know, fourth quarter. And so for me, it's about, I felt an obligation to do something and make a positive change for my community. I know I have that ability. And it's not just me. I don't have the magic wand. But what I do really well is bring people together, the right people. And I'm not beholden to one person. There's nobody behind me that's paying my way that I have to owe a favor to. You know, on the contrary, my opponent, it's all about deals and favors that he's going to have to owe to everybody. And the establishment that doesn't want change. You could see it so obvious from the people that are supporting them.
And there's a part where I want to talk about that, and I do want to get deeper into that, but I want to close off that part of the philanthropy work, and I think you're like the Bruce Wayne, man. You're the Bruce Wayne of Hamrod's Gotham City here, like the border Gotham, and so you're the one that does all these stuff, because I mean, I know Hamrod, man. He's good and all that, but he's been getting involved a lot in this whole room. He always does. So I'm like, this is your. I'm more of the Joker. I like the Joker, but anyways, see why there's no doubt about in my mind that what you've done in the Boys and Girls Club, we clear that off. You got named Hall of Fame for the community service. You were actually one of the advocates that was pushing for the bags, which at that point I was already getting used to it. I was like, all right, no big deal, and then they got rid of it, so no big deal.
But it is a big deal.
Well,
I mean, we need to go back and try to fix those things. And it went all the way to Supreme Court
I'm
of
just
Texas.
acknowledging what you've done, and it's good. Like it's.
I mean, I've been blessed.
And that's where I'm going to talk about that part.
Go ahead.
And say that you were an advocate for that in the same community, and they gave you awards and all of this stuff. Like they praised you.
Sure.
They did. But that is where I'm looking at this. now I'm saying the community that gave you those awards also organized your landfill for over a decade. They were against your landfill.
Some of those people
Yeah,
were, they weren't
they
the
voted.
primary people against us,
They
but yes.
voted against you in 2006, and last week they gave, or like not last week, but it was like a few weeks ago, they gave your opponent like a favorable amount of votes, and campaigns against all of what you're doing, and here's where I'm in the crossroads. Like you said that earlier, like see why your philanthropy work, game on, bro. Like we're steady, we're good, we're rock solid. But when it comes, like, how can we have that issue? Like, the CY that helps and does all these things and coaches those soccer teams, how come whenever we put you on this side of the plane, like the CY guy, like, we don't get that feedback, or we don't, like, they block you. There's like, you hit a fence with this other CY. Like, there's, I guess the people are like,
It's the same CY, and the CY that was trying to develop that landfill, which I'm no longer doing, was trying to look at how we're going to manage our waste for the future.
but why is
care.
it there a lack of trust from the community, man?
I think it's a not understanding of really the whole scheme behind it. You know, the same people that are attacking me for building that landfill, where were they when the people built all these brand new homes around the current landfill? And the people that
saw
are
that,
getting
yeah.
fumigated and poisoned, currently getting poisoned. What engineer at the county or city made those approvals? Who's going to be accountable for those people when they start having cancer and brain damage and other things, birth defects, etc., potentially from the methane and other gases that are being released from those hills that are constantly fumigating those homes? Mm-hmm. Where are those advocates fighting for those people? Where the landfill that I was developing sits on a salt dome, 3 miles from any rooftop, anywhere in any direction, and completely free of any wind shift to any community, even any ranchito and any subdivision out in the rural part of Webb County.
And so you're
It was done in a very clean way. And by the way, I had city and county approval initially.
Initially, yes.
No, all the way through. Then they came back and reverted and tried to, and they successfully destroyed me at the end, right? But I had city and county approval. They recognized the needs and the ability of what it could have been.
So-
But I am going to sit here and tell you that I, CY Benavides, I'm not on a mission to build a landfill.
Right.
That's not what I'm doing here.
Right, and that's so what you're saying. Like, and let's because there's something I want to go back into this, because your runoff, you mentioned on the report saying that you're going to focus on the youth to come out and bring out those the Gen Zs to come out and vote.
Yeah.
But the Gen Zs weren't even born in this time, but. And this is this is the part where I'm going to ask you this. So then, are we saying that it was a political machine that was against you during the landfill?
100%. Same machine that's against me today.
Okay, but then correct me if I'm wrong, man. I really want you to correct me here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Wasn't your cousin like supporting this this campaign against you for that landfill?
Miss Galo has been against everything I've ever done.
So is it a political machine issue, or is it a family issue?
It's both, because it's the political machine that she's been driving since the 90s. In part. I'm not saying she's the sole driver of that machine. And so then they build around that machine different people that have been against us, from the toll road to the landfill to anything I've ever done.
And
the past campaigns, this current campaign. They're the ones behind anybody but CY. I mean, think about how preposterous that statement is.
if it is family, then what does that tell you?
It's not family. It's a person that's genetically related to me. Family is completely different. That's another word. People can be related to you, but not be family.
Yeah.
That person is not family. That person is related to me. That's it.
Okay. Interesting, man. That's, yeah, I just want, and I think that's where.
Family doesn't do that to you.
Right. And I think and then the next one that I want to talk about is it's the Camino Colombia.
Sure.
See, I do give you credit for this one. Like, that is game on. Like, the Camino Colombia toll road, it was the first private tollway highway in Texas. So you were
And
the
it
first
would have
one.
been the first in the nation,
And
but for the fact that the
you-
same people that are fighting me today fought me then.
I give you credit for that, for having the vision of, hey, I'm gonna capitalize from this NAFTA trade, because we're looking at it right now,
Yeah.
and it's a booming thing. And I say that you did have you had the vision. I just think it was a little bit too early. Okay.
It was not early, and I'm going to tell you why. So I wish that I could tell you that, again, it was just all me. The all me part was that you look at a map, we're building the new Columbia Solidarity Bridge at the time. You know, it was going to be open in the spring to summer of 2000. And the deep water port at Corpus Christi was being built at the same time. And there was people interested in how to connect that port to Laredo, Texas. And then the fact that if you look at the map, you know, why do you want to go 20 miles south to go 24 miles north if we can draw a straight line right across and connect to the same point? You know, it's simple math. That's one thing I did pay attention to that close, you know.
Yeah.
The straight line is the shortest distance,
It's the shortest distance
between 2 points. It wasn't, you know, I did pay attention on that day. It's my weakest thing, but I knew I was right on that one. And again, I'm telling you that it was just not me. But I will tell you, and I will put this up to anybody, if that had to be done again today, you know, by anybody else, I'm not sure if it could be done. I put together 22 landowners. I got them to donate, catch this, donate 1,200 acres of land across that whole section of property. Worked with people like the other Benavides families, like Guillermo and Manuel Benavides and their father, the Walkers, Gene Walker and his family, Candy and her brothers. Patrick was my secretary of the company. I worked with the Puigs, the Prietos. I worked with a bunch of different people that cared enough to participate and invest 14 million of their own dollars at that time, back in the mid 90s. And then we went out and secured $100 million from John Hancock and New York Life, primarily John Hancock. And to sell them the concept that we did. And I put those guys in a helicopter. It's what I'm known for. And I showed them the long lines of trucks at the time, you know, and showed them all these things. And because of Camino Colombia and our initiation and funding, we were able to get the 4-lane divided highway down Mines Road. And we got the beginning of the intersection and the fourth bridge. All of that was fast-tracked. No environmental, no nothing. They fast-tracked all that work, and they did it on the come because they were scared that somehow I was gonna bypass Laredo and destroy Laredo. And can you imagine if we had not done that? We had no 4-lane divided highway on Mines Road. We had no Camino Colombia. Where would we be today? We would not be where we are. Transportation-wise.
And that is one part that I'm telling you, like you had the vision to do that, and I have to give you credit on that, because that's a bold, visionary idea. Like,
well, and that's probably why I got the endorsement
and
from the Laredo Motor Carriers Association. You know,
well,
their support is
what
based on that kind of vision, and then the vision that we're going from here. And I will tell you that if you look at real estate markets and what has happened along that toll road, I will tell you that billions of dollars are in play because of that road today. And that nobody, not the person running against me, not the other people that are in power, have ever done any kind of move like that ever in their lives, not singularly or cumulatively.
Okay, and go back. I'm trying to tell you that you did something good, bold, visionary idea with that. You also, and say what you want about the project for the landfill, but what I see there as well is that you did not quit, man. It was a decade-long fighting of going back forth, like, hey, yes, no, maybe so, but you were committed and you were you were there.
I don't know how to quit.
And
that's part of the DNA that my forefathers instilled on me. We're not about quitters.
And that is determination, man. I get that.
Some people get defeated, you know. But a loss doesn't mean that it's the end. It's just the beginning of a journey.
And in 2006, okay,
Yeah.
you ran and you got knocked down in the runoffs, okay, against Danny Valdez. But here you are.
That was a great race.
But
We beat a sitting county judge and a long 20-year sitting county commissioner.
yeah,
A tough race.
but you got back up.
We may not have
wait,
even lost that race, but for
you
a
got
lawsuit.
back up, and you're here 20 years later, again, swinging with that resilience of determination that I'm going to go get what needs to be done for the community. I have to say that because that is, it's true. But I also have to say the following, okay? The toll road, it went bankrupt. We ended up selling that at pennies on the dollars to TxDOT, okay? And that's one. The landfill
But you
permit,
got to ask why it went bankrupt.
and that's where I'm going to go into right now. The landfill permit, it was denied by all of, like, it was approved, no, yes, and then completely off, okay?
By TCEQ.
The 2006 race costed you, and correct me if my numbers are wrong, but it costed you about $700,000, and you took the big L, man.
Yeah.
That's 3 major swings and 3 outcomes that didn't go your way. Now you're on the 4th in the May runoffs. At what point does the boldness become a pattern, and what makes this time what makes it different this time, man?
Well, first of all, I mean, we lost the Camino Colombia because the city of Laredo changed the rules on us on double transfer. We had the federal designation for overweight, oversized, and hazardous, and that's the real reason why the project was funded, and the resources of income that we would have had to pay the notes off. Now, when they did that, it was inevitable, and they did it immediately. They changed the rules and the laws to allow double transfer and people to come in, so that they wouldn't have to go through that loophole, that federal designation, which, we tried to consider a challenge, in the legal system, but we were not successful to get that designation upheld. At the end of the day, Camino Colombia is not a failure. So with all due respect,
Yeah, like,
and so it is what it is, and because of it, people like Rod Lewis have come out to say that if it wasn't for the toll road, we would have never done the Eagleford up and down that area, and the economic impact that it's now caused as a positive for the community. I mean, the impact of Camino Colombia is all county generated funds right now. All those hundreds and millions of dollars that have been spent on real estate, those are now up tax values to the coffers of the county. I mean, the impact of that project has been nothing but a windfall and a huge success for his community. I heard from Jerry Maldonado at the motor carriers that 80% of his members have own, rent, or gonna own or rent and make deals at the toll road some way, somehow. So, you can't look at that as a swing and a miss. That's a swing and a direct hit. Now, we lost our $14 million. The bankers in New York lost, what, $80 million? TxDOT bought that place for like $20 odd million. In a project that they bought right away because they said, well, we would have built it ourselves if the city had asked us to at the time. But the city didn't have that vision, and that's what it is. And running the last time, well, you get up there, you take a swing, and sometimes you do fail. I don't think we would have lost that race, but for the lawsuit of Louis Bruni during the runoff, the day before the runoff, he files a lawsuit canceling our runoff election day. So people showed up at the polls and nothing to vote for. It was a tragedy. Then they had an emergency runoff a month later. We lost momentum. Nobody showed up, and I don't know, recall what we lost by 1,000 votes or whatever, but maybe a little bit more. But it was a heartbreaker. But it was the will of the people that mobilized the vote, right? At the end of the day, that is what it is. And people ask me today, I've spent probably north of $800,000 of my own money in this race currently. Why would you do something like that?
how much?
at least 800,000 that I've spent today.
I calculated 940,000.
Okay, well, $1 million that I've spent today. But what I told them is, and what you need to know is that I'm investing in my community. I believe in my community. It's my money to be able
Yes.
to do with what I think is the right way to spend my money, and I think it's something that is important. That's why I'm doing it. What does that position gain for me economically? Zero, nothing. I make more money than in 1 month than that
Yeah.
place pays me in a year.
And I'm gonna have to stop you there because I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna tell you how I perceive this, and this is my only opinion. It is not anybody else's. This is just the way I see it. Like, you do have great ideas, man. Like that whole Camino Colombia is great, but as an investor, if I was one of your investors, then that means I would have taken a hit because the whole thing went bankrupt. Okay, so that's one. But that's it's our
But
money.
every single one of my investors made out like a bandit. They made 10 times X money
Okay.
on their investment.
So why do you think it went bankrupt? Because you were the
I'm
president.
telling you why it went bankrupt. It went bankrupt because the city of Laredo, working through the politics of the city and the state, changed the rules on double transfer and disqualified us from getting that direct shipments of oversized, overweight, and hazardous material, which is serious stuff that nobody wants to talk about. Do you know that there's at least 6 shipments of hydrogen chloride through Laredo's port every day? Mm-hmm. It all comes through downtown. Nobody wants to talk about it. If one of those tankers were to spill, 100,000 people may be dead, just like it happened in India some years ago. And you know what? Our fire department is not prepared for those kind of disasters.
Through downtown, like Bridge 1 and 2?
Yeah,
They don't pass in 18-wheelers?
yeah, they pass on 18-wheelers. I'm telling you, one of those tankers.
You can't pass 18-wheelers through downtown anymore?
Yeah, they pass them right through. Well, to one of the bridge 2 or bridge
Or the World Trade?
World Trade.
I thought all of that.
That's what everybody's been
Okay.
talking about. Something happens on World Trade. Where's your water source?
Right.
Just south of it. I mean, you're killing 50,000 people before everybody can say yay. You know, and how many people are you going to kill in El Laredo when that happens? There's a massive population on or
Yeah.
the people on Mines Road. You know, those people don't count. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to say anything about it. I'm the only one advocating out there. I'm the one advocating why not to have, a border wall. Why not to have, where's my opponents? They don't even have a position because they don't have the qualification to understand a position. I'm telling the federal government right now today that this community should not have those buoys in the river because if and when you had a catastrophic storm, you could build a dam type situation by accident, tear out one or more bridges. You could have a domino effect. And then where are we as a community? We're
How do you
sunk.
stop all that?
By communicating those things, by telling you that you might impact interstate commerce. That's the one true law that does exist universally here. Anytime somebody affects interstate commerce, it's actionable. That's the kind of leadership and thought process that I have that's beyond what the folks around here understand or know, or that my opponents haven't even have a clue about. In the last 5 weeks, I've met with the head of the majority leadership from Congress here in Laredo, Texas at a private dinner. I've met with one of our senior senators here in Laredo, Texas at a private event. I've met with our governor, and I've asked all of them for a good cumulative of $6.5 billion for what I'm talking about, the new way of selling Laredo, the port of the United States of America at Laredo.
Yeah.
We need a direct investment for water, sewer, wastewater, highways. I'm talking 6-lane divided to the 32-mile marker. I'm talking about the proper bridges that connect this community. I'm talking about the outer loop. And all of that money get directly funded to Laredo, like they're building the wall. Not this version of how it goes through transportation. Transportation gets it to Austin, and Austin gives it out based on population. That's the kind of leadership I bring to the table. Different, cohesive, direct. I'm working and talking to leaders in London that can help us connect to our community. They recently had an event for our president about 3 or 4 weeks ago. They charged $250,000 a person to go to that event. Some of the people at that event want to help Laredo. Why do they want to help Laredo? Because Laredo matters. Laredo's connected to everything. Laredo's the largest
Right,
overland
yeah.
port in the world, and it's treated like it's the barrio.
Well, that's more of a personal, like individually issues, and I think that's the how can I it's a
But what do you blame the status of this community on?
the people, man. It's us.
Is it the people or is it the leadership?
They're not leading us by moralities. That's not why we elect them. We elect them so they can be and be good stewards of it.
Administrators.
Right.
Yeah. How
So
we hand
that's-
off things to people and how they give it back to us.
Right. The problem is that we're not putting the right individuals in office. And because forums and debates are not, you can't explain everything to it. Now, if I put both of you there in who's going to be better prepared, well, I'll say, hey, he's very polished, you're ruggish, and you're just calling it how it is. And people will attack, like they'll say, hey, I like that attitude, like go get it done. And or some people will say hey, he's more polished, he's more like settled.
I mean,
But-
ask yourself this question, though. Why has that individual been at 5 different firms in the last 3 years as an employee?
For the better benefits, I don't know. That's something that it's for.
If you look at that's a red flag. Anybody in human resources would red flag him and would never hire him.
Okay. But the same way we do that, CY, and I will ask him that, that's a great question, I will ask him that. I go back with you and I start looking at the track record, man. And this is where I start looking at and saying, okay, this is a good, sound individual that can lead us to this thing? Because what you have is what I have. And I'm not calling you out for just because I want to, it's because I have the same issue that you have. And it's the visionary part of it. You get ideas and you're running at 100%, like, let's go, let's go, let's go. But with so many ideas, who's keeping you in the rails, all right? And when I see the history and say, hey, the Camino Colombia was a great idea, it was, but you were way advanced and we didn't time it perfectly.
That's not true. It was perfect time. It was absolute perfect
So
time.
if it was, then we failed at something.
No.
We learned.
People that are trying to affect this race today affected that outcome of our ownership with that project.
I get
They
it.
sued us, the same people sued us back then for us to fail.
And that is politics.
I understand.
And that, okay, so
I
then.
understand,
okay.
but that's why, so you got to say to yourself, well, what comes of it? Or do you just take it lying down and you say, you know what? Oh, they beat us there, so we're not doing
No,
that.
we just- okay,
we're
well-
persevering, we're keeping on. And you're just talking about the things that you know of around here. You don't know anything that I've done statewide. You don't know anything I've done in other different parts of the world. You don't know anything that kids that I've mentored and kids that I've taken up to the top and showed them there's opportunities and the greatness based on that.
Right.
That's what I bring to the table. I bring leadership. I bring, a cohesive understanding of how to work with all levels of people. I can sit down at any table with anybody, from the poorest person to the richest person, and I treat them all the same.
And I don't
we
doubt
work,
that.
We work together the same. And I know in my heart that that's why I'm going to be successful at this job. And that's why I'm going to bring this community together like never before. Because I'm the guy that can break those chains and have the ability to cohesively understand how to bring people together. That common ground, basic understanding is the way this community grows.
Yes.
Because currently, we're headed to the route of just being a cheap version of Buc-ee's.
Now, track record, man. And I agree with you. I do agree with you. You will probably do a good job with it. I'm not doubting that part of it, what you've done to others, and that's all great, because that record, you have it. Not doubting it at all. What I'm looking at now, I'm looking at the history behind this as a businessman. And you said it, like the other opponent, he's been with different firms. Okay, that's right, he has. And that is one thing, is like, how come you haven't been stable on one? And now I'm coming back to you and say, I will ask him that, but I'm gonna ask you now, it's like, the track record that I see is there's commitment, there's perseverance, there's grit, there's everything is there, but the results haven't been what we expect for them to be. And I go back to that Camino Colombia where you did it, and then if it was working 100%, it would have not been in a bankrupt. It would have been continue going, and then.
But I'm telling you,
But it was the politics. You're saying it's a political machine. Okay.
It was all about politics.
But
So you're
that's-
looking at
well,
two of the things you've talked about are 100% politics.
Yes, it's politics, but it takes wisdom and knowledge to foresee what's going to come back in that, and that takes time. I am with
No,
you
I
on
understand. So like right now, I'm running this race, right?
that. Yes.
And there's one of two outcomes that are going to happen.
Right.
I'm going to win or I'm going to lose. And if I lose by your verification, then that means I'm an unsuccessful person.
No, not at all.
Exactly. So that's my point. But that's not going to happen. We're going to be victorious. We're going to win this race. But this is the key: is that you're looking at just a segment.
Well, I'm about to finish the other ones.
Public segment of my life. You haven't seen other things that I've developed around the state, or even in other business within the family.
And that is true, because these are the things, and that's where I'll say this, and I want you to tell me, okay, you've done other projects, other things that have actually, but I'm not bashing your Columbia Bridge, man. I think it was a very great idea. It really was.
But I'm just trying to tell you, you can't count it as a strike, because every single landowner around Camino Colombia has made 10x on their money or greater on their original investment. Yes, they don't own the toll road, but at the end of the day, bankers in Boston paid for a piece of infrastructure for our community, and that was a plus for us. I brought that money to Laredo, period, end of story. That investment would have never come to this community if I had not gone and gotten it.
Okay, so
The taxpayers, yeah, they paid 22 cents on the dollar on what was the final end of product. They couldn't have even bought the right of way for 22 cents on the dollar.
It brought the property up. I get that. They made money. The investors, the landowners, they all made money, and that's amazing.
Well, that's what people build roads for.
Absolutely, and to
You know,
connect.
any new company that comes, that's one of the things. I mean, Elon Musk comes to
and
Austin.
it took a radical idea to step out of it and say, let's do this. So I will never doubt that. I'm telling you,
But don't you think that's what we need at Webb County today? Are you really satisfied with the way the business is being conducted today?
Well, I'm very conservative, and especially with other people's money.
I understand, but are you happy with the way it's being run today? I'm asking you that.
They're the only, they're not the only county. They're the only, I guess, branch that there hasn't been, well, they have. Recently, there hasn't been so much chaos. Or there's not I mean, the only show that I've seen is like Patricia Barrera going out there and fighting, and I think they just, I don't know, they fight, but I remember she would, I don't know if it's true or not, but they would do pots there. Maybe she's mad for that. I don't know.
I think she has just some concerns, because why would they take that purchase of that particular real estate, which I have no argument one way, I don't have a fight in the deal, but
Yeah.
why would they take that to an independent law firm?
But I've seen their numbers, man, and they're not.
No, I understand
That's-
the
but-
process, but they're obviously took an independent law firm so that the public could not opine to their purchase.
Okay.
They have a client attorney privilege. Mr. Cruz doesn't have to expose anything. The county doesn't have to expose anything to the public on the purchase of that property.
For the
Casablanca Ballroom.
okay.
It's all being done as a backdoor deal through Mr. Cruz's office.
Okay.
That's, I think, where Patty's upset about it. I think that's where the community has problems with it. Not that we care if they buy, Belinda's property or not, I mean, I think she's been a great advocate, good person in our community. It's an intersection, practically property on an important location. I think the property has value,
Yeah.
I have no problems or quarrels about that. But I think where Patty was coming from is that she's an elected official. She runs that department. We did everything. We did all kinds of things to bring her office back downtown because of logistics to people. And now we're pulling it out of downtown again. And the fact that we're doing this business at Juan Cruz's office, not with the attorneys inside Webb County, so that the public cannot opine on that. And we're telling elected officials to stay in their lane and it's none of their business. And is it really not her business if it's her office that's what they're going to use it for?
But okay, I get it, But I get where you're coming from, and I understand you, man.
I'm not against what they're
Yeah,
doing
right.
or what I'm taking sides, but
they're
as
all-
a public person,
Yeah.
and as a public person that understands why it happens. Now, if you ask the average person about it, they don't even know what I'm talking to you about.
No, because they
That
don't have
is
time.
why is this particular transaction being held at Juan Cruz's office? If you ask the average person, they would not know that answer.
Well,
I know that answer because I know the law.
We'll bring Juan Cruz. I don't know who that guy is, but we'll
He's
bring him
a
over.
lawyer.
Okay, we'll bring him over, see if we can talk about something.
He will tell you I can't talk about it because I have attorney-kind privilege with the county. That's what he's going to say. End of story. It's a very short commercial.
Okay.
60 seconds. You'll get it
That'll
done.
be the fastest
That'll
one.
be the fastest interview you'll ever do in your
No,
life.
and I look at what's out there, and I'm showing you because here's the thing. I'm telling you, and let me just finish this part.
Go ahead.
These three things: your 06 election, the landfill, like you were persistent, like you were at it for a decade.
Yeah.
And then this whole thing where everybody tells you like, but there's good and bad in them, man. Like I'm not trying to tell you that you did horrible because you didn't.
But
there's good and bad.
Even with the landfill, I did not lose. I just got defeated by the process of a permitting situation.
Yes.
See what I'm saying?
I
And then some people, you failed at this. I didn't fail at anything.
No.
I just failed to achieve a permit that because of some technicality in the formation of a permitting process, they kicked me out on. Not because of me.
You did not fail, and I have to say it because in business you can call it failure, but it's really a lesson learned. And these lessons are very, very costly, but those are the ones that you learn the most.
But again, it's not about, it wasn't a lesson.
So
we
what was it?
had the right people. We had everything in place, but the politics came out against us. That's it. That's the only reason we failed. That's it.
Okay, and here's where
We had local approval. We had city approval. We had county approval.
Yes, but here's where I'm going to tell you then.
What's that?
You're not, I've heard you say on some videos that I'm not a politician. And I'm going to tell you like, no, I need a politician because I need you to negotiate and get along with these individuals.
But I do.
So then you are a politician.
If you call it that.
We have to.
Yeah, you can call it.
It's like,
I believe that life is politics. you know.
Absolutely.
I'm not a politician. When I say that, is that I've never been an elected official. It's not a
Yet.
career.
Yet.
Yeah. Hopefully, on June 1st, I will be a politician.
man.
A
Why not?
full-time politician. With God's will, we'll get there. I am committed that we are going to get there, and we're going to get together there because I know that the public itself wants change, and the public needs leadership, and the public needs a strong person that can handle and deal with adversity. And that's the one thing that everything is tied to, the things you talk about. I worked through that whole process through adversity, and I'm still standing here today.
That's okay. Well, okay. So you get what I'm
Because
trying to tell you.
Most people get defeated.
Well,
And they're
absolutely.
and like, oh, well,
100%.
I'm moving. I'm doing something different. I'm giving
Yeah.
up. I'm not that guy.
Okay.
I'm the guy that continues the process. I mean, it's just like the California miners,
It's
if
that-
they stopped
it's-
after a year of digging the hole, they never get to the goal.
And that
You
is
know?
and that is the part in the business world where we see it as like, man, I'm not going to give up. Yes, life will throw you curveballs and you're going to have to deal with them. But we're here again. Like, let's go to your campaign, your 2006 campaign. And quite honestly, man, I'm gonna tell you right now. I saw a picture of you holding a sign, and I think your logo and the colors are way better than the ones right now. It was CYC and a check off, and it's what was the logo the slogan you had? Control in the border.
Order on the border.
Order in the border, man. That sounded like you should do. Let's try it out, man. And I'm probably gonna do it, and maybe
What's
you can
that?
help me out. We're gonna do a retro. Let's go retro for a week. Let's turn it back. Let's go back in time. And 2006, I was looking at it, and we're gonna put it. And that year, that song came out, bringing sexy back.
Yeah.
We're gonna do that with your logo, and we're gonna have a
So
voting.
without a doubt, I mean, I also had that you be the judge.
There you go.
because that is
Why did you go with this blue? Or like, it's fine, it's
So
good.
no, the image and the colors is, first of all, we wanted to tie Webb County, and we did that green swath, but people
Yeah.
don't understand that's actually from a geological, I mean, like a
Yeah.
survey that shows the greenery and the
No,
floodplains
man,
of.
you gotta bring.
No, because I am that environmental guy, and I am that person, and I'm not that person. So 20 years ago, I was that person. I was brass. I was cocky. I was, just about me, right? Thinking that that's all it could be. And today, I'm not that person. Today, I'm much more grounded,
changed?
mellowed. Not just age, being a father, grandfather, for a longer amount of time, has taught me to be more humble.
What's that one lesson that you really brought you to? Like, hey, man,
Obviously, being humble, that's what humility is. One of the hardest things you ever can deal with,
Yeah.
and also that realize that you have to be resilient, and that things that are worthwhile don't come easy, and there is adversity, and there is a hill to be climbed or a mountain, and there is treacherous ways in front of us. I mean, even in the process of where I am today, there's scary moments, but you work through it. You see the adversity in front of me, and most people will cave to that kind of stuff. But you know what's so special is all the different people that see me and connect with me and say, "You're in the right track. You do
Okay.
care. You do want to make a difference." And guess what? We're with you, and we're helping you, and we're walking,
Absolutely.
and we're asking people to help you because we get it. And we appreciate that you're not polished and you're not just a simple everyday politician, and that you have succeeded and you have failed, and that here you are again.
Well, that's where I'm trying to. Okay. So let's just, for lack of better words, I'm gonna say that those things that we're focusing on, let's call them failures. I know this is just for lack of better words.
Whatever you want.
Right.
Okay.
But here's the thing, man. Like, 20 years later, you're still here.
Absolutely.
And you're still getting up and like, let's go at it. Like, and that is where I'm telling you, like, okay, like, that is something I'm going to call out and say, man, that takes guts, because if not, you said it right now, like anybody else would just be sitting on a corner, or you would retire like that cowboy rides away in the ranch.
Sure.
And this is life, which is it's good. There's nothing wrong
That's
with
fine.
that. But man, like,
People never know what fate and destiny are all about.
Right.
And it's the road that us as men or women follow and lead down that path,
see what's that one thing that really brought you down to your knees? That, because you say the word humble, and that is a very, very tough thing to do for men. Pride and ego are the biggest things that we all men fight.
Yeah.
But you said it, you were that tough guy, you were that person. So what flipped? Like, was there something that just like it clicks?
I mean, I can't tie it just to one thing, So I was married once, and I had to deal through some adversity and losing my relationship, and that had a lot to do with an evolution that I had internally. I thought that I could save the situation, and it didn't work out. Although now we're great friends and everything's good, and we've raised great kids together, separately but together always. But I think that was a big deal. But more than anything, I think you find it through maturity, just different things that you find along the way, the path. I mean, I've had an adventurous life. I look for possibilities. I look for relationships. I built friendships across the globe. It doesn't mean that I've traveled to all those places, but I've connected with humans around the planet. And that's what has also, shaped who I am.
Yeah.
It's just like I tell you those moments in Auckland, New Zealand, for example, and you see the little shop owners and the care and the craftsmanship that they do in their shop, and the fact that they've outlawed bubble gum because it's a nuisance.
And
There's not one paper thrown anywhere on the ground, and not one plastic bag. They have a plastic bag ban.
I'm gonna I want to, and that's right, and that's going to be a tough one. I promise you, but
Yeah.
it's gonna.
We may
what
not get that one done
yeah,
again,
you're
but-
asking for a lot there. Just let's focus on the votes first. But here's the thing.
Very
I like,
focused on the votes.
What
right
I
now.
liked, what I do like, was your sign, your 2006 sign, man. It was nice. I liked it. We're gonna bring it back, and we're gonna let the people decide what they like about it or not. But the other thing I want to tell you this, and there's two things, and we're gonna wrap it up.
Okay.
Your campaigns, 2006. It's echoing this one the same. You spent more money against Danny Valdez. You spent about like $700K. You got about a 23 to 24%, and that put you at the runoffs. We are reliving it right now. You outspend everybody. All right, we're like in the 900 and change.
But that's not true. That's not a true statement.
What? Well,
All
in
the
runoff.
camps, accumulative, probably spent about $5 million. But you're just not
Okay.
going to see it because
Well-
a lot of it's in kind and all kinds of other ways.
Well, the
that
other
they
two
go.
just got out. They got out. I mean, well, they didn't make it.
I
So,
know, but accumulative, the three people against me spent probably about $5 million.
right. Well,
So
3 against 1.
yeah, and then outsiders too. So
Oh, that's right. You had another campaign against everybody
so-
but CY.
and you haven't seen their numbers, but I promise you, it's way over $1 million.
And that's
The 300,000 they reported was the first 2 weeks of expenditures.
But what I'm saying is, like, the same reports, the same votes are coming back, like, and so I read this article that what you did back then, you did the concerts, you did the block walks, the signs, all of that, and I look at it now. It's looking like it's like the same. We're doing the same. So now I'm going to ask you. We're in the runoffs. What's the change now? Because you talked about in one of your reports saying that you're going to focus on the youth. Is that still the game plan now?
Oh, we're always connecting, trying to connect to the youth and doing different events
Okay.
tied to that. You know, we just recently did a student haircut deal in South Laredo. We're fixing to do something similar for prom here with some kids and stuff, and connecting not only to the youth but their parents. You know, but more than anything else, we're connecting with the public. You know, at the end of the day, that's the name of the game. This is the second set of these shoes that I bought here in the last 5 months. You know, we're eating up our souls and hitting the ground and communicating with the people,
Yeah.
and touching them one on one. I think when people meet me and get to connect with me, it changes the way they view things of the way I am and what I care about this community and how I care about it, and a plan to try to execute something that is dramatically different and positive for the benefit of all of us.
Right. And now and this is going to be the other thing. I look at the campaign finances, and when I look at it, and I want you to see it, and I'm going to show you this part where he raised total monetary raise. He raised 173. You guys are in the same 171, 173. The total spend is 146. You're at 942. And then it shows the spend from credit cards. He's 0. You're at 490. Personal funds. He's at 0, and you're at 135. So you're betting on yourself, which is like, okay, this guy means it. Self loans, 3,600, 170,000. Cash on hand. This is like in February, like after. Anyways, if I would calculate it and say how much is it costing you like all the votes that you got versus with the votes that he got, it costed him $14, and it costed you $157 per vote. The people that voted for you, you outspend them. You're at 10 times more. You paid 10 times more per vote than what he did.
But you're only showing me what's on that book. That's not reflective of what was spent on his campaign, you know.
Well, this is what they're reporting.
I understand,
Yeah.
but I'm telling you that's BS.
You think it's more?
He was on 2 times longer than I was on all digital ads. How's it possible?
He did get a, and they don't put that, and I did put it here, where he got like a $49,000 on campaign contributions, but for ads. And for the Texas Ethics Committee, when it comes down to the votes, like it doesn't go in the account.
Yeah, but one
they'll
of his
put it
major
there.
supporter owns part of those billboards, and they've done it for free. So you don't see that in the book.
So I'm calculating that as well.
Well,
So that I did
I
because
still
I
think
was
it's missing.
I was like, hey man, like no, like you can't, you have to, like I get it, like it didn't enter the account, but it was donated, so it still counts for something. Like
Yeah, I know, but that's bigger numbers. It's just not reflective.
And-
And at the end of the day, there's all these different elements of people that are helping him and spending money outside of his campaign to affect my campaign. So I'm asking you, as the smart guy that you are in politics,
well, thanks, but
how much of an impact was vote for A, B, C, anybody but CY? How much did that negatively impact me in percentage points? If you were just guessing.
how much did it impact you? Gosh, man, I don't. You see, if I look back at data and it didn't make an effect because you're still getting the same number. You're still at 23, 24%.
No, but you have to account. They spent over $1 million on that campaign.
Oh, okay.
So you tell me how much of an impact that would be against me.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Is it worth 5 points, 10 points? We don't know, right?
Yeah.
Truthfully, we don't know.
Right.
But it is a number.
right.
I mean,
yeah.
so you got to add that $1 million that was spent plus on that campaign had a net value of purchased votes that went to him.
Yes. And
Yes, exactly. You're not counting it. See, it's a big
it's not-
difference.
you're not
Put that
counting
$1
it.
million to his 200
But
grand.
see why, here we go again, like,
No.
no. I'm
on.
saying it like, here we go again, like, why would somebody go out their way and create another organization to go against you? Like, it's a two-way thing. Like, if
Maybe you need to have that person in here and do an interview with them, and you can ask them why.
what is it? Like, is there like no reason at all? Like, are both of y'all cannot have a conversation about whatever the issue may be? Like, hey,
We work together every month, but we don't have conversations about that. You know, there's so much more stuff that she's tied to with that kind of stuff. It's a sad situation. There's nothing I can do about it.
that pack?
No, that pact, that's Anangelo.
Oh, okay. Again, man. Okay, so who needs enemies when you have family?
It's not family. It's relatives.
Well, I mean,
Very different.
and I think that's all like just a conversation.
Like we don't eat together. We don't do Christmas together. You know, that's family. You know, very different.
That's a lot more on the. I mean, something happened. It was personal, I'm guessing, and I'm not going to touch on that.
I really wish I could tell you what it was. I mean, it's a sad situation. There's nothing that I can tell you on why that happened other than there's some rooted element that only she could tell you about because she's never told me about.
I think that's where a lot of and that's where when people say I'm a good person, I have a good heart, it's like, no, we don't. Nobody does. Like, it's evil. Like, that's all we have in our hearts. We're sinners. That's where lust, killing, all the bad things come from the heart, and that's scripture. It says it.
Well,
so
I mean, you have that stuff, and we work through it to try to be as best we can, and you know,
absolutely through
And
scripture that guides us to get things.
in part, and then part through sacrifice, and part through what we do to help others. I think this role that I'm taking in my life is exactly that. It's my way of doing something back for my community.
Yeah.
I've made my investments, spent my money, and other friends of mine money, and other family members of my money for the betterment of this community. That's what we've invested in. That's what we've ventured into. And not one person that is a true entrepreneur can sit here and say that they've not failed at something before they succeeded. And even people that have succeeded fail on other deals in the
Right.
future. And you have scenarios, you know, and anomalies like everybody talks about, you know, what Elon has done. But can you imagine if Elon had said, you know what, I've failed on a few things and I kicked ass on this one thing and I
Right.
sold my public platform, I made hundreds of millions of dollars. Wouldn't you have said, I'm good?
Yeah. Right. And that's
And then he's like, no, I'm going to keep on and I want more. And
right.
And how do we impact and change that? And that's all I want is more. And not just for myself, but for my community. If I wanted more for myself, I would just keep on dedicating the life to myself and my family and not care
the
about
Boys and
things
Girls
like
Club.
this.
And I mean, I look, and we're gonna. You've done great. You're coming back. I think you could have just retired and continued doing the Boys and Girls Club. You've done a phenomenal thing. I think that's more impressive than doing this whole campaign things. Because honestly, I think it is.
Well,
But
that's a legacy piece that's never going to go away. The project's already been named after me for the last 3 or 4 years, and so that's something that hopefully somebody, whether my children or somebody within the organization, will continue to honor and be
Right.
successful at. And we've come a long way. The first year we started that gig, we made like $58,000, and this year we almost made $500,000.
look,
So
I will. It's great. You've done great things, and I'm thankful for what you've done for the county and for the city and for the people, really. And there's a lot more issues that are gonna come out, and that they're tough, man. And the only thing I would say to wrap this whole thing off is that
Sure.
I came in here wanting to see it and be open and transparent and give an opportunity to say, hey, who is this gentleman? Because what I know about this gentleman is, yes, he's a Benavides, probably has money, he has ranches, and he has all these crazy things, and good for him, but I don't know him. And nobody right now is doing anything to get to know the individual. Like, we had an issue right now with this other gentleman that was running, and he won. He won the campaign. And who's holding him accountable for what he did with the DWI? Like, he won, and it's like, where are the
he only won the primary. It's still an election that he had in
okay, so he
November.
still has another one coming up, and I would love to talk to him about this. Like,
You should talk to him about it.
we'll bring him over. You're like, no.
I wish I had control over
Yeah.
him.
No,
I think he's
but-
his own guy.
But I think it's more of a, see why you've done great. And if I look at all of this, there's a lot of similarities that I see with what you're doing and how you run things and how I do them as well. You're a visionary, you like the new ideas, you go for them, you don't stop. And this is just me humbly telling you this from a good place, doesn't come from a
Yeah,
bad place.
that's okay.
I think the fear that I had, it was more of a, if I put this person in there that's radical, how is he going to get along with all the other commissioners? And now, what is he going to do to build those bridges? Is he going to hold a grudge against them because they're probably having some events with the other gentleman? With
So
Jerry.
I've had a relationship with John Galo and worked with him for 30 years.
And
I've
give me a
worked
second,
with
give me a second.
Commissioner Tijerina over the years. That's not an issue. I've worked limited with Jesse, but I was very instrumental in getting his brother elected to council. So I have a
when I-
relationship.
No, and you do. I'm just saying, like,
Mr. Jaime, I just recently met. I thought he's a sharp guy.
I just want to make sure, and I say this, it's more of a, when I look at the facts, and maybe they are wrong, maybe they're not. So I'm just grabbing what's on reporters and what the Webb County is showing on the votes and on the finances. When I look at your record of the things that you've done as a businessman, I'm gonna say, hey man, he took the risk, and good for him. Some of them are continue to grow, and right now the landfill didn't, and that's okay. But there's commitment, and I like that. The financial part of the campaign is where I am a little bit more of an concern. Now, are they right or wrong? This data came from the county info, all right? And
No, it's,
you're betting on yourself
what's there is correct. The problem is there are other things behind that.
that we don't see, right?
I've been the only person that's actually
Right.
shown what we spent.
So when I see this,
Anita never did it. She didn't even file one time, for example.
yeah,
But we didn't hold her accountable because we knew she wasn't going to be one of the top 2 people. But it is what it was.
when I see this, and I didn't look at their numbers, and I probably will look at them now, the other 2 individuals. When I look at this, I'm like, man, he ran a very aggressive campaign financially, and just with the data that I have, because I've never been in business with you, I haven't seen your numbers, personal numbers, and all of that. I don't know that. I just know what's out there.
Right.
I'm gonna say, like, my fear would be, are you going to run county the same way you're running your campaign?
So at the end of the day, to get elected, it's about votes, right? And getting people, how you get elected, right? And as a business person, it's like to get those votes, it requires like similar to what customer acquisition would be like, right?
Yeah.
And so we knew. So imagine this: 20 years ago, the people that voted for me, a good number of them have passed away. And a good number that I'm counting on were, say, 15 years old, or maybe even younger.
Yeah.
So how do you communicate with a populace that doesn't know who C.Y. Benavides is? The older people do. The people that have been around at wine tastings and things of that nature. But anybody minus 40 may not know me.
Right.
That's a big number of people. That's a big number of the populace. So everybody knew my opponent because he was a newscaster. He was on the news every day, for example.
Yeah.
Easier to see who that person is or what we think that person is. So it took me 2 or 3 times more in investment so that people could know who we were. The opportunity I have through the runoff is now there is something they can touch. And just like this interview that we have today, that'll move people one way or another, positive or negative, to the direction of my candidacy or my opponents, right?
Right.
And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. So we knew that we had to spend money to get noticed, and we did it. And whether the route you like or don't like, we made decisions based on hiring professionals that do that kind of work that helped us put us where we're at. We're working with people to try to improve on where that is today.
Right.
And I think we're accomplishing that. I have so many people that are working to help us win this election, that care about the direction of this community, that understand that there has to be a vision. And it can't be an individual that's jumped around from 5 different companies in the last 3 years. I mean, that's just a reality.
Yeah, but...
Yeah, but nothing. I'm telling you, you would not hire that person to work for you if that was the case, because that is an unsound business judgment. And I've heard from people that worked with him at KGNS that he's a lazy person on top of everything else. I'm not that person. I'm not a lazy person. I work hard. I commit to things. I think you can ask any of the candidates, except for the people I've opposed. I've outworked them 10 to 1.
I don't have him here. I don't have him here too, so he can tell me exactly. But I do have you here, and what I want to know is about this whole thing was about who is CY, because you said you're going to focus on the Gen Zs.
CY is a farmer,
and you focus on the Gen Zs, but the Gen Zs haven't been around when you were doing all these other projects, so they're clueless. And these individuals are the most loyal generation to you if you do what you're going to say you're going to do. But if you do them wrong, and another thing is that they don't get all tied up in the whole banners and the yard signs. They don't care for that. They want to care if you're authentic and true. But if you get those votes, you'll take it 100% if you get them out. But you don't do what they're asking you to do, they'll sacrifice you, and they'll blast all over social media. That is one thing about these Gen Zs that love it and they're cool, but they're savvy, man, and they'll question you on everything.
I want them to be savvy. I want them to be asking those questions. I want them to be interactive. In fact, I hired people to help me to even try to speak their language, to try to connect to them at multiple levels.
Did you learn something? Did you learn how to talk like them?
Oh, not where I can speak it fluently, but yeah, I've heard Riz and Slay and all kinds of other things. The 6 7s of the world.
Oh,
and
there
all
you go.
That stuff. I mean, I understand.
Yeah, man.
Trying to be able to be that person, and you have to be humble to really go in that direction, because it's a whole other culture that we're dealing with. It's almost not even our own people. We're dealing with humans that are looking at things in a different way. And we need to be able to be not only a steward, but a good listener, to make sure that we hear what's on their mind, that we can affect that change, and so that we can, have that connection. But it's the connection that I've always thrived for. And I've always felt like the investment is in the youth. So there's a lot of people, and I've been on many boards, from Rotary to you name it, I've done it
Yeah.
all. But I've always been dedicated to Boys Club because I've always felt
That's your
that
passion.
affecting the kids
See why
is
it's-
affecting the future.
And it's
And that's
really
the only
nice.
thing I can tell you. And we've done stuff from taking them to the dugouts at the Houston Astros to watch the Dallas Cowboys play, to hunting trips,
but
to river rafting. To
if you win,
yeah,
would you bring back the Laredo Bucks?
that would be fun. I miss those moments.
know, man. I
do
know,
miss those
but-
moments. I thought it was fun. But you
kidding.
know
I'm
what?
kidding. I'm kidding. No, I'm
excited
kidding.
about going tomorrow to see the Tecolotes play.
Oh, that's right.
You know, and things
That's
of
right.
that nature. And we need to support what we have.
Oh, yeah. I interviewed one of the guys here. That's
And there's some cool people. There's some great talent there.
Absolutely.
In fact, some people from Venezuela, and you know that
Yeah.
Venezuela just won that World League event here
Yeah.
a few days ago.
we gave it to them.
And you know,
America first.
yeah, we're always America first, but it's about competition.
Absolutely. Healthy competition.
and good sportsmanship and being a good sport. You know, it's
Okay,
not
talk
always
about that.
about winning.
And if you don't win, would you have that? Would you help the competition and be like, here, I was thinking about doing this stuff. Would you be open to that?
Of course I would, but unfortunately, that's not what they want. You know, because
Well, we don't know that.
yeah,
We
no,
don't-
of
that's-
course. I've
we don't-
always
yeah, it's
I've
just a
always-
hypothetical.
I've always been that way. I try to do it with Danny, and you know, unfortunately, there's this underlying animosity that's created during running that doesn't really lend itself to that. They think, you know, you're the opposition, you're the enemy, that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and it's
No,
unfortunate.
it's-
I'm just being
Yeah.
honest with
No,
you.
no, I get it.
It's just my experience. They usually don't take counsel from the losers, you know.
Well.
But
We don't know that. We don't know
Yeah,
that.
no,
It's all
but-
hypothetical. So
no, it's not hypothetical because I've been through it. You know, because
with previous ones, not we can't say that now.
Well, I can't say that Jerry would be that person, but you know, I mean, I think Jerry's a nice guy, but I don't think he is the leader that we need at this time. And
that's fair.
I think this community needs a leader that has not been there, done that. He was there for 8 years. He talks about the stack of things that he did during that time frame, and I would tell you that that stack's pretty thin. And the same things that are problematic today are still the problematic things that exist. I mean, that were then, they exist today. And that's why I'm here. That's why I'm vying for Webb County Judge. And I humbly ask people to support me to that effort, you know, because I will be that transparent door. I will scrub the budget. I'm going to bring the light to the day of everything that makes sense and everything that doesn't make sense within our organization. And I'm going to keep you, the public, informed on the process. I will not do backroom deals. I will have it in the forefront. If it's the right deal, the public should be able to comment or opine to it in any which way they want.
You're saying it, and it's going to be recorded. And if
Absolutely.
something does go wrong, they're going to call you out on this.
No,
and
you
you're gonna
don't, you don't need to call me out on it because you're going to see that my office is not going to have a door.
Okay.
It's going to be that open door policy. I'm going to bring in
glad.
my administrators within my office so that we can work together, so that we can make sure that we work, you know, with Mr. Uribe and his group so that we are able to further what we're doing there and working with Mr. Medford and all the team that currently is there so we can see what makes sense and have all the department heads report to us so we can see what really makes sense. And if it all's perfect, well, great. But we know that's not the case. And that's why the public wants change. 60-something% of the public wants change. And at the end of the day, they truly do.
And
I think the other people that lost this race were about total change, not about current administration. So I'm very confident on our ability to generate, the votes necessary to be able to win this campaign.
And see why I think I will say thank you very much for agreeing to this. I think it's been a very interesting one, a lengthy. I think this is the longest one we've done.
I hope it's.
It's a good.
I hope it's
No,
what
it's
you
good.
wanted. I hope you
Well,
got
there's a
what
lot
you
of
want out of me.
There was a lot of things that people, I'm pretty sure they had doubts or concerns, and I think you covered it, and it shows the kind of individual that you are. And my job is just really to, hey, bring them out. let the people decide. It's not about me, or it's not about like, oh, Jerry he is my friend, but this is the time when it's like, hey, I am not trying to do one friend or another. It's like, you guys are running for politics. It's like, we're game on.
Yeah.
Like, I need to show who you are, what your beliefs are, and what are you planning on doing for the community. Because at the end of the day, we need to do something, because there's something off in our community, and I still haven't been able to find the answer to that. But maybe we can, if you do win, and I hope you do, or just you or Jerry. I think, in my view, I think both of you guys will do a great job. But man, I wish you nothing but the best, and I will pray for you. We'll pray for your campaign, and I will pray
Appreciate that very much.
that the Lord continues to bless you. I don't know about more kids, because you're already too
no more
you're
kids.
too deep
No more
into
kids.
that one. But
I'm
no,
good. I'm good.
and I would pray that you have a relationship with Christ, and you continue having that relationship with Christ.
No, that's something that I've always had. You know,
Awesome.
I'm here because of God's grace. I've been saved on some very miraculous things that have happened through my life, and I'm blessed to be here. Of course, I need your vote. And ladies and gentlemen, please give us an opportunity to make a change that's needed in this community. And I humbly request that you vote for us, vote for my leadership, that we can work together for our future. Thank you very much for your time.
There you go.
God bless you
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you again.